Hello and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News channel. This is the TAFA and chart analysis for March 1st, 2022. We've made it through February and Bitcoin is actually looking pretty good. If you look at the chart, on the 1 month chart, we are basically about where we were right before the war started. And we're kind of holding that level. And if you actually look, we're actually kind of like in an upward trend right now, at least for the last 10 days or so. There was a big scare, obviously due to the war, and we had this crash, but there was buying resilience up here. And now I do think that like countries, not only Russia and Ukraine, but other countries are seeing the use of Bitcoin and buying it up as well. Now, there is a danger if too many Russian oligarchs are using Bitcoin to actually save their money, the West might start to sanction Bitcoin. Although that is made less likely by the fact that Ukraine is getting tons of Bitcoin donations, and the West probably does not want to screw that up. However, Binance's refusal to block all Russian citizens or like block all Russians may actually help the Western world have an excuse to kind of like bar Bitcoin. But we will have to see how that actually goes. Really, they can't really truly sanction or ban Bitcoin. They could ban it from their country and stop inflows. But like I said, that would screw up Ukraine. And there's a lot of companies that actually do have substantial investments in cryptocurrency. And they definitely would be against that. So that's why we're actually up today. I think like Belarusian millionaires are starting to buy in as well. And I think like it's not only, like I said, it's not only going to be those three countries. People across the world, they don't really know when uncertainty is going to hit them, when another war is going to hit. They don't want to go with the up and down of the dollar or whatever their currency is. So they might buy some Bitcoin as a hedge. And I think like this war is showing people how Bitcoin can actually be more and more of a hedge. So that's actually what we have for the charts right now. I do think like we were actually on kind of a bullish streak right before the war. And I think like there was definitely a lot of buying pressure down here in the 30,000s, and that's why we bounced up so quickly. Once the initial shock and scare of the war basically blew over, I think people saw that like it really wasn't going to dip any further. It was cheap, and now they're actually buying it up. And obviously inflation right now, they're seeing the dollar inflate, and Bitcoin has a limited supply, so some people might think of that as well. The technicals kind of follow suit. If you actually look at the daily technicals, they are all positive all the way down to the 50. However, the 200 EMA is still greater than the 50 EMA, although we are getting closer and closer. We're actually almost above the 200 EMA. We have about 1,000 more points to go before we're above the 200 EMA. But this has been a big turnaround. Luckily, all the oscillators are still kind of like neutral. Commodity channel index is not above 100 yet. Stochastic is below 80. RSI is below 70, and that means we're not actually overbought yet. The momentum and the MACD level and the awesome oscillators, they're all basically pointing at buy right now. So the oscillators do seem to say buy, but of course there is kind of like black swan events like Putin deciding to use nuclear weapons. By the way, if you guys didn't know, he did orchestrate a drill today with nuclear submarines. So he is actually warning the West more and more. And hopefully, if he does pull the trigger on a nuclear war, there's someone in his chain of command that will defy him. Because I think a couple of the oligarchs are already turning against Vladimir Putin. So hopefully, there's actually safeguards to that. But, if we go up a couple more 1,000 points, then the 50 EMA will eventually go above the 200 EMA. We're still pretty far from it, but if that does, we'll definitely see more of a golden cross to cancel out the death cross that was there a couple months earlier. I do believe that we've actually bottomed right now. I mean, there is a flash crash possibility, but I do believe that we've actually bottomed, and we are kind of like riding the wave on the way up. I still can't really see a massive surge to 100K without this like geopolitical situation kind of like resolving itself. And I think even after the geopolitical situation resolves itself, I still think people are going to buy Bitcoin for safekeeping for the future. On the weekly, it's the EMA, the 10 EMA has swung to buy. We're almost swinging to 20 EMA, and that's definitely some good news. We could actually see more long-term bullishness, because right now at this point, I do think like even if the war goes on, we may not see a major dip. And if the war doesn't actually go on, if the war actually stops, I mean, obviously the good news is going to pump crypto. But more than that, like I think people will buy crypto in preparation for the next conflict. So I do kind of like see crypto as neutral, either neutral or positive right now, even in the short and medium term. Long term, I'm obviously very, very bullish. And on the 1 month, the exponential moving average for the 10 months is finally on a buy. The SMA is still on a sell, but the EMA is on a buy right now. So it's definitely looking more and more positive. So I'm slightly bullish short term and medium term, and I'm very bullish long term because I think the long term effects of this war will bring crypto in the limelight and people will see how useful cryptos are. And even if governments at the forefront, even if governments like basically in public say they don't like crypto, I think they'll buy some crypto just in case as a hedge. So that's what I'm actually looking at right now. So I do think things have actually turned a little bit positive. I'm neutral to positive on short and medium term, and I am very, very bullish on long term, going past like 6 months to a year or more. Bank of America does not actually see any crypto winter, but they also said like the growth might be stalled for the next 6 months. So towards the second half of this year, it should actually get a lot better. Unless, of course, Putin pulls the nuclear button. If he pulls the nuclear button, it might be the end of humanity, and crypto is kind of irrelevant. So that is the news for today. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.